Welcome to the channel. Today we're in chapter 33, correcting beginning balances for reconciliation. To reconcile an account in QuickBooks Online, the opening balance must be the same as the closing balance from the previous reconciliation. However, this might not always be the case. Discrepancies in the opening balances could arise from someone deleting or modifying previously reconciled transactions. As soon as you start to reconcile an account, QuickBooks Online immediately flags any issues with transactions. When it comes to discrepancies in the beginning balances, you initiate a new reconciliation. You enter the statement ending date and ending balance. If QuickBooks Online detects that the beginning balance could be inaccurate, it displays an alert on the reconciliation screen. So what could normally cause the beginning balance to be incorrect? QuickBooks Online calculates the beginning balance from the sum of all transactions posted to the account that are marked as reconciled. The beginning balance could be incorrect due to the following. Changes have been made to one or more transactions marked as reconciled. For example, a transaction was deleted, the transaction amount was changed, and the transaction was manually unreconciled in the check register by changing the status from the reconciled to clear or no status. It could also be due to changing the bank or credit card source account or voiding a transaction. One or more transactions have been manually marked as reconciled by changing their cleared status to reconciling the register. QuickBooks Online is including transaction in the calculation that it shouldn't, like where there is a duplicate. So how do we identify the cause? So in order for us to identify the cause of the discrepancy, you have to select the we can help fix it. So let's go through, because we have covered the reconciliation. So this is currently the ending balance. So now we're going to make changes to this reconciliation, to this opening balance, because this was the ending balance. Now if we want to start a new reconciliation, you can see this will now become our opening balance. I'm going to the check register to make some changes that relate to changing the status of a reconciled account transaction, then also 2, changing an amount, then 3, deleting an amount. So first, let's change the status of the reconciled transaction. So let's go to the check register. So we go to the chart of account, we look in the checking and view the register. So now you can see in this register we have the transactions. So you can see here on the status, you can see this is with an R, right? It means reconcile. So if we click on this, it will open up this detail. So now we're able to change the status. Let's say if we change this from R to blank, meaning no status, then if we click it again, it will change it to C. So now if we save, you see QuickBooks will give us a pop-up saying the transaction you are editing has been reconciled. Saving your changes could put an out of balance the next time you try to reconcile. So you see, so now let's say yes. So if we go now to reconcile, let's say we wanted to do our reconciliation for the month of October. So you can see we have this pop-up message which is saying your account isn't ready to reconcile yet. But you can see below it says your beginning balance is off by 100. We can help you fix it. So once we click this, we can help you fix it, you will be able to see the current issue. You can see the status here. So here right now we have the 100. They say that the beginning balance is off by 100, and if you look on the status saying C, so in this case we just have to click on that status and then click it again. Now it changed to R, meaning it has been reconciled. So now let's save. So if we click save and done, so now our balance has been reconciled. So our beginning balance is now ready for reconciliation. So if you haven't seen chapter 32, I advise you watch the video on reconciliation. So the next one is changing the amount after we have reconciled the account. So now let's go back to the check register. So the amount we're talking about, the amount relating to the previous month, because this is now in September. This was in September 9/27, 2023. So now we're going to change the amount to see the impact this will have. So you see currently the check register is showing the status of R, meaning it has been reconciled. So if we go back and click on this, then we change this amount to 200 instead of 100 and save. Now let's go back to reconcile. You will see that we still get a pop-up saying your account isn't ready to reconcile yet, but we can help you fix it. So if we click on this, it will take us to here. So now you can see on this report, you have the reconcile amount, which is the correct amount after we've made the reconciliation. So now the current amount that is in the check register is saying the 200, which led to a difference of 100. So in this case, all other things being equal. So now if you look at the change type, this will tell you the issue that we need to fix. So previously, because the status was changed, they told us that status change. So now for us to, because it's an amount change, you will see the status type. Here they say reconcile in the register, meaning it has been reconciled. So no issue with this one. So now let's click on this to change the amount back to 100, which is the correct amount. So we click save. So once we click save, you see the variance now becomes 0. So you see now the pop-up message has appeared. So the last one is to delete a transaction. So now let's go back to the check register. That is the transaction that we're talking about are transactions that we've already reconciled. So let's go to the check register and delete this transaction. So if we click on this transaction and then click delete, you will see this pop-up message will say you're about to delete XYZ. We click yes. So once we click yes, the transaction has been deleted. So you see now we have an ending balance of 500 instead of 400. So if we click reconcile, you can see now we have this pop-up message which is saying your account isn't ready to reconcile. So now we can click fix. Please note that when a transaction is deleted, we cannot undelete that transaction. So the only way to correct that issue or the error is to re-enter the transaction in our journal entries by booking a journal entry. The only way to do that is through the audit log, because the audit log will log all events that happens in QuickBooks Online. So let's click we can help fix it. So now you can see this is the report, which is the reconciliation discrepancy report. So now let's see what happened. We have deleted transaction. Okay, so we can see this other deleted transaction. This is a previous transaction. So the one in question, you can see here the total difference. So this is the one you should focus on, not just this detail. So the variance, the discrepancy, this difference is what you are trying to solve, which is 100. So now we're looking for a 100. So we notice that there are a few details about this transaction in this report, but there is no information. Even if we click it, nothing will happen, you see. Whereas for this, if we click, we're able to do changes and edit, etc. But for deleted transaction, there is no information on it unless we click the view. So if we click view, it will open in another window, which is the audit log. So this audit log, you can also access the audit log by going to the settings. So once you are in the settings, you can find the audit log. So this is it. So now let's go back. So you can see in this report, we have events. So you can see there was an edit. We also have deleted by Fuller at 5:31. So this report will show you what events that took place, who deleted what. So you see, so now we can see the transaction that has been deleted. So if we click on it to show us. So now if we click on this to see the detail, mind you, this audit log will just show us the event and what happened, you know, but there is nothing we can do here unless we go back to re-enter this transaction by booking a journal entry. So now you can see this is the transaction, you know, it is a charitable contribution. Then we have that's the description, and the account is also to the charitable contribution, the amount. So the key thing that you should take into consideration is this amount, then the journal entry number, which is number 8, then the date. We want to make sure all this information is the same when we are going to re-enter this transaction, because we don't want to have like enter a different amount or different dates, meaning it won't work. I mean, there will be still a discrepancy. So we want to make sure that everything, all the information that should be on this transaction should be entered on our re-entry. So I'll push this to the side. Now let's open our journal entry. Mind you, if you haven't seen our journal entry tutorial, please see the previous chapters on journal entry. So the date, so we're going to enter the date. The date is September 27, and the journal entry is journal entry number 8. So we change that date, and it's not an adjusting entry. So you can see for if it was an adjusting entry, so you can see here on the adjusting entry, the status is false, meaning this was not an adjusting entry. Okay, if it said true, meaning it was an adjusting entry, but in this case it's not. So we're going to just enter as a journal entry. So the account here is charitable contributions. So we look for charitable contributions, and the amount is 100. That is the amount in green, which is the debit, and the credit is there was a credit to the checking. Okay, so the description, sorry. So the description should be charitable contribution to a political party. Okay, so now the credit now should be checking, because this amount was credited to checking. So once we've entered all the information, everything looks good, we click save and close. Okay, so even though we've entered this entry, the issue will still remain. We will still get this pop-up because the status of this account has not been updated. So now to update the status, we go back to the chart of account, then we view the register. So now you can see the balance is now correct, but it's just that the reconciliation has not been changed. So we go to the register. So you can see the status here is blank, meaning no status. So now to change it, we click on that and click again. So now you see when you click on it, it shows C, and then you click on it again, it changes to R, meaning reconcile. So now we click save. So once we click save, now we've corrected the issue. So now if we go back to reconcile, you see, so now our error has been corrected. So whenever we are correcting a deleted account, we have to always make sure if this transaction that was deleted was actually added from the bank feed, we can go to the bank feed and then refresh our bank feed. So once we refresh, then the transaction will likely pop up. So let's say if the deleted transaction was actually added through the bank feed, then to correct that error, we can go back to the bank feed and refresh our transaction. So once we refresh, then we can see the transaction that was deleted. We can just easily add it back or do a match. So once we add it, then we can go back and change the status to reconcile. So now on doing a reconciliation. So let's say after we've made our reconciliation, we decide to undo the reconciliation due to this errors. Because sometimes the reconciliation or our reconciliation might have so many errors in a way that the only option we have is to undo the reconciliation other than like correcting the errors on the opening balance. So if in an event where we know there are so many issues with the opening balance, we can just undo. Remember that when undoing a reconciliation, this can only be done by someone with accountant access. That is, accountant users are the only one. The QuickBooks Online accountant users are the only one with access to undo a reconciliation, whereas the clients don't have that access. So in order for us to undo a reconciliation, let's go back to the summary. So you click on the view the history by account. So once we click history by account, we can see the view report. On the action column, on the view report, we click the down arrow. You can see print undo. If we want to undo, we can just click undo. But in this case, I'm not gonna undo this reconciliation. So that's how to undo a reconciliation. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like if you like the video. See you in the next video. Thank you.